everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. So, interestingly enough, Al Gore is making his triumphant return to media, doing a bunch of interviews, and now, my friends, he's back, according to PJ Media, with a new sequel to An Inconvenient Truth. And, of course, we know that that was all bunk and hooey, just to bilk people of billions of dollars. It was a big scheme, if you will, a get-rich-quick scheme for him and his buddies to go ahead and scare people into thinking that man, bear, pig, and human farts and flatulence was the cause of global warming. And he's still on this tact. And you can hear the BS just flow from his mouth, and I'll get to it in a second. But I think there's a little more purpose to Al Gore and what he's talking about and the rhetoric that he's spewing. And I think that all has to do with the... yesterday, I highlighted how the billionaires of the world are building bunkers at breakneck speed in the Ozarks, down in South America. All of these places where it's claimed that they will survive a pole reversal, an asteroid hit, you name it. They're building them underground. They're building them above ground, fortified, all sorts of different ways. They're buying missile silos. I also highlighted a map that was put out in the 80s, late 70s or 80s, that I first learned about from a guy named John Moore, who talked about this map that the U.S. Navy was talking about that had to do with the conveyor, the Atlantic conveyor shutting down. And when it shut down, it was going to cause catastrophic warming slant, earth changes to the point where, according to this map, you'd have a totally different geography of the United States and, of course, the rest of the land masses of the world. And then I saw that Edgar Casey had also talked about it as well. And interestingly enough, as time is going on, what are we seeing? Since the beginning of the 20th century, we've seen a huge uptick in magnitude 7 and above earthquakes. Look at what's happened over the past 3 days. I mean, over the past 3 days, we've had 3 major earthquakes. The latest one last night, right off the coast of Turkey and Greece, caused a tsunami and major damage in places like Rhodes, Greece, tourist area, same in Turkey, tourist area. So God only knows how many injuries or deaths there are, and I'm sure we haven't heard the last of the damage that was done there. But, I mean, everybody can see that there are changes that are taking place, and taking place faster and more frequent than they've been, so we've seen an uptick. Now, Al Gore, of course, just like Rahm Emanuel said, never let a crisis go to waste. Well, Al Gore says the world would reach a point of no return within 10 years. That's what he said in 2006. He said if drastic measures were not taken to combat climate change. So Gore was asked why he made that prediction in the first film, and if he has another prediction to make about climate change now, 11 years later. And this is what he said, quote, well, first of all, we've seen a lot of I can't do it. First of all, we've seen a lot of progress since the first movie came out, he said. The Paris Agreement now, that's doing a whole lot, isn't it? The cost of renewable energy has come down so quickly that people are switching over with huge government subsidies, might I add. I want to add that as a caveat because you can't afford it, really, unless you have tax incentives or you have government subsidies. In the state of Massachusetts, they have a program right now where the electric company they'll put it up on your house and you lease them. Basically, the electric company is using your property in your house to harvest the power, and then they give you a discount on your bill, but you're still not, you don't own it, and it's just, most people can't do it by themselves. So, totally out of touch statement. He says, unfortunately, some levels of the Earth system have crossed the point of no return. He said, but we still have the ability to stop short of other points of no return. And we now have a solution available to really solve this crisis. He says we need the political will, but political will is a renewable source. Now, Gore recently said the U.S. still has time to avoid catastrophe related to the effects of climate change. No, we don't. Okay, because let me tell you something. It's not about climate change from a human perspective. See, there are some things that we can control. There's some things that we can't. One thing that we can't control, or at least I'm not aware of being able to control, is the sun and the solar cycles. And the fact that we're entering into what a lot of scientists think is a grand solar minimum. And during a grand solar minimum, there's a lot of things that take place, but more, some of the more major effects of a grand solar minimum is a major weakening, a proportional weakening of our magnetic field. When the magnetic field weakens, more solar energy, more cosmic particles hit the Earth, cause Earth changes to occur, just like Mars changes occur, and Jupiter changes occur, and Saturn changes occur, because all of the planets are experiencing changes due to the fact that the sun has changed its behavior. So, with that said, we've seen an uptick in earthquakes, and we've seen an increase in speed of the poles moving towards the equator, and what's sure to be, and is inevitable as long as time continues to go the way it does, a pole flip, a pole reversal. And when that happens, we don't know what the real effects are going to be. We don't know how devastating it's going to be. Is it going to be devastating at all? But I can tell you that the billionaires are out there making their underground bungalows ready to wait any sort of catastrophe out. And what that catastrophe is, I don't know, but I can tell you there certainly is a lot of activity going on, not just with the sun, not just with our environment, but the Earth itself is changing. And this has all been, like I said, it's all been foreseen. And a lot of people talk about it. However, one of the rules, as I was told in a prior interview with the grand magician of the Tool Society, was that the powers that shouldn't be and people like them have to put out what they're going to do before they do it. They have to put the information out that they know before it happens. And interestingly enough, we're seeing tidbits, snippets of information that comes out about these earth changes, about these events. We see the preparation underway. Folks, 1 + 1 is 2. Do the math. Add it up. And what you see is uptick in activity on the planet, whether it be earthquakes, whether it be volcanic, floods, mass die-offs of animals, you name it, it's happening. Scientists say that we're in the 6th extinction level event, and billionaires are building bunkers. So, methinks it's probably time to get ready, because I think it's going to get kind of crazy around here. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. Have a great day, everybody.